Seek ye first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all these things shall be added unto you. If you're anything like me, you've heard this verse over and over again. You might even have thought that you were actually living up to this verse in your life. You might actually even be living up to that verse in your life. But in the course of the journey of my life, I realized, and I'm going to try to talk without being emotional, that it's, it's hard to talk, gosh, without tearing up or getting emotional. But anyway, at some point in my Christian life, I must have thought that I got this, I got this. I am believing God in my heart. I'm doing my best to be a good, nice person, doing the right thing in different circumstances. And in some situations, not being as bad as I could be, or as bad as I think other people are, which is the measure that sometimes we use to measure whether or not we're doing what we're supposed to be doing. But then you realize that life happens, and you have priorities. Now you have to start thinking with your head, and you tell yourself, I am going to be practical, pragmatic. I am going to do what everybody else is doing, what everybody else says to do, It's to be practical in your approach, whether it's career, whether it's relationships, whether it's, even serving God. You start thinking about, what am I going to do with my time? I have real responsibilities. I have real expectations from different people, even expectations for myself as a human being. And you start to strategize on how in the flesh, what are people saying? What's the best thing to do? What's the best business to get into? What is the market looking like? What's the job market looking like? What is the best career to get into? You just sort of mold your life according to what you think and what other people say is best. Based on those values, you may or may not be winning, in inverted commas. But I think the real measure is when you look at yourself. Are you doing the thing that God has put in your heart to do? And are you achieving what He has basically called you to do? You may have distractions. You may have real responsibilities. You have people looking up to you or people depending on you. You could have some expectations. Maybe somebody's paid for your fees. Someone has offered you a job, and you can't let these people down. And whatever it is that God has put in your heart, every single day pushes lower and lower down the priority ladder until it's 10, 15, 20 years down the line, and you realize, I haven't moved anything forward in terms of living an authentic life, living from the inside out. You may have acquired things. You may have acquired things. You may have achieved things, but you have not answered to the voice of God that is whispering to you concerning the meaning of your life, the purpose of your life, why God has put you here. And Matthew 6 verse 33, I'm just going to refer quickly down here. It says in the contemporary version, but more than anything else, put God's work first and do what he wants. Then the other things will be yours as well. And it seems more and more we have it upside down. And you put all this effort and all of this energy into getting to where you think you want to be, and you're realizing it's not hitting like it should, like you thought it would. It is not giving that fulfillment. It is not giving, the enrichment that you thought it would. It's not giving the prestige that you thought it would give. And you start wondering, why am I doing any of this? More than money or positions or, recognition, there comes to a point in your life where your life has to mean something. And we know that outside of Christ, life doesn't mean anything. And the beginning, believing in him and professing him is just the beginning. And then there's that part where you have to live that life, that full life, that meaningful, earnest life, that vision that is so big that you're willing to live and die for. And that's how people are supposed to live, especially if you're over 30 and you start looking at, but what am I even doing? Why are we even here? It gets tedious. It gets to a point where the glitz and the glamour just fades away, and you realize, no man, this has got to mean something. This has got to be something. You look at people who have achieved whatever it is that they set out to achieve, and it doesn't look so shiny after all. If it doesn't have any depth to it, if you're not bringing anything to humanity, if your life doesn't mean anything to anyone except for you and the people that directly benefit from whatever it is that you're doing. So I want to invite you on this channel to embark on a journey of earnest, honest, congruent living, living from the Spirit. And I want us to hold each other's hands. I want us to hold each other accountable. I want us to check in with each other and make this journey a real journey. We don't need any of the fluff. We don't need the rhetoric. We need what's real, because whether you believe it or not, the time is short. Things are looking like they are wrapping up. Whatever your idea of what our generation is, you just have to look around and you can tell that things are different, and we cannot afford to be called back to glory and saying, I haven't done what I was supposed to do. I didn't give time. Even if we say, for argument's sake, there is no hereafter, it ends when we end. Excuse me, it is still not good enough for us to leave this life without any meaning, with all this suffering, all these challenges, and all the things that we go through. It cannot be that we will live and die a meaningless life. So we're going to walk this journey. We're going to prioritize the things that we're supposed to be prioritizing. And yeah, we're going to hold each other's hand through it. Let's see if we finally do it God's way, the way the word has said to do it. If we will not come out with a testimony, because he says in his word, test and see that the Lord is good. And I know enough about God to know that he's real. And that should be a starting point. If he's real, okay, let's put all the cards on the table. Let's try and see if this life can be what we, a life of purpose, a life of meaning. I hope I have spoken to you as much as I've spoken to myself. And yeah, I hope we start a beautiful journey, a journey of discovery, because there are clues that this life is supposed to be amazing, and amazing in terms not just of material or external validation, but an intrinsic value. Life has got to be worth something. There's just too much suffering. The fact that there's evil in the world should tell you that they should be good. Because what is the purpose? In the story of evolution, what is the purpose of evil? What is the meaning of evil? What is the function of evil? If there's no God and there's no spiritual world, you can't, if you believe in evil, then you also have to believe in the opposite, the other side of the spectrum. So we're going to explore all the things we know about the other side of the spectrum, and God willing, we will uncover as much of what he has for us in his word, in his spirit, as we possibly can in the time we still have left. So here's to us getting to know each other better, maybe not even being so hectic in other videos, but just building and building ourselves up in our most holy faith.